I should have listened to the old man's warning. The river stretched wide beneath a bruised sky, its surface frozen solid but restless. Moonlight spilled over the cracked ice, scattering diamonds of cold fire that shimmered and vanished with every whisper of wind. I felt the crunch of fresh snow beneath my boots, each step muffled yet sharp in the stillness. My breath came slow and steady, forming ghostly clouds that drifted and faded into the night. Around me, the frozen forest seemed to hold its breath, waiting. Tall spruce trees stood like silent watchers along the banks, dark needles cloaked in frost, trembling in the brittle air. The scent of pine hung heavy, mingling with the faint earthy musk of damp soil trapped beneath snow. Eric and Nolan trailed close behind, their lantern casting long, quivering shadows that danced among the trees. Behind us, our small campfire crackled faintly, sending occasional sparks into the dark. Beneath the ice, the river whispered, a low, persistent murmur that felt ancient and secret. Every so often, a faint drip echoed, snow melting from the branches above, its sound magnified by the frozen silence. Then, far downstream, the ice groaned and cracked. A splash shattered the quiet, sharp and unnatural, sending ripples across the dark water beneath the frozen crust. I stopped, the hairs on my neck prickling. Cold air seemed to deepen, thickening like a living thing pressing close. From the forest came a sound, soft, twisting, almost plaintive. A whistle, wavering between the innocent cry of a child and the harsh call of some wild creature. It echoed, curling and coiling around the trunks and branches like smoke. The temperature dropped again, biting through layers of clothing, slipping beneath my skin, settling heavy into my bones. Frost crystallized on my eyelashes and hair. Each breath grew sharper, colder. I moved closer to Eric and Nolan instinctively, our eyes scanning the dense shadows where the trees merged into a wall of black. Movement flickered at the edge of my vision, a slender shape gliding between the trunks. It moved without sound, a lithe figure shifting between forms that made it impossible to grasp. Slowly, it stepped onto the ice. Its eyes caught the moonlight, twin stars burning with an eerie glow that seemed to pierce into my bones. The creature halted at the river's edge. The whistle rose once more, slow, mournful, carrying the weight of centuries trapped beneath ice and snow. Then it whispered my name. The voice was impossibly clear, yet utterly wrong, echoing as if inside my own head. A second whisper followed, just as unnatural. Eric. The forest fell utterly silent. The air grew thick with unspoken warnings and sorrow. We stood frozen, held in place by cold dread pressing down like the weight of the river itself. And a gust of wind tore through the trees, scattering snowflakes like pale embers. The figure melted away, dissolving into mist and shadow until only the whispering river remained. My heart thundered in the stillness. Slowly we turned back, footsteps loud against the frozen earth. We didn't speak. The faint light of our campfire flickered ahead, a fragile beacon. From the dark woods next to us, a voice called out, perfectly imitating Eric's. Come back. We froze. The fire offered no protection. Between us and its warmth, the voice that was Eric's, yet completely alien, had just called. Eric didn't move, his head tilted slightly as if he were listening to a different message entirely. That can't be, Nolan whispered, his voice cracking. Eric, was that you? Eric didn't answer. A voice from the woods called again, closer this time. A low, sorrowful moan, sounding exactly like Eric when he'd sprained his ankle last summer. He's playing a trick, Nolan insisted, fear giving way to anger. Eric, cut it out. I looked at Eric. Moonlight painted his face bone-white, eyes wide with a shiver that had nothing to do with the cold. He pointed a trembling finger at the darkness. I didn't say anything, he rasped. The creature abandoned its mimicry and returned to its mournful whistle, circling us, drawing a net of dread tighter. Roots snagged our feet. Our breaths came in ragged gasps, but cold didn't matter. All that mattered was the flickering light ahead. As we reached the edge of the campsite, the whistling stopped. Silence followed, even worse than before. Then a new sound came from just beyond the fire's reach. My voice, perfectly clear, a little breathless from running. "Hey guys, wait up!" Panic surged. We scrambled into the light, throwing ourselves into the meager glow of the fire. No one spoke. Hands fumbled with gear. Tent poles clattered. A lantern rolled into the snow. A sleeping bag zipper screamed. Every rustle of pine and distant crack of ice was a whispered threat. The air itself felt alive, watching. We weren't packing. We were tearing our lives from this place. Nolan stuffed the last of his gear into his pack while I caught Eric's eyes across the dying fire. Fear mirrored my own. He nodded once, a silent agreement to leave everything else behind. We abandoned the fire, its last embers hissing as we stomped them out. Packs clumsily slung over our shoulders, we turned from the river and the silent forest. We didn't run. We didn't walk. We moved with a desperate, urgent purpose. Each step a prayer to escape. We never saw it again. But even as the lights of town appeared in the distance, a faint, mournful murmur followed us on the wind. Not a whistle, not a voice. The river itself carrying its haunting melody all the way home.